Great having you today in our class. I want to say welcome. Today we'll be looking at the topic tonic triads. Tonic triads. Let's look at the things to come. All right, we have tonic triads, the definition, how it's written, what notes make up a triad, how the note sits on a particular staff, and as well fixing of notes on the staff. All right, but the first thing we'll look at today is what do we understand by the word tonic triads? Tonic triads are simple chords with just 3 notes in them. Don't forget that we said that a chord is a combination of 3 or more notes sounded or struck or played together at a time. So tonic triads are simple chords with just 3 notes in them. Let's look at these 3 notes. The tonic is the first and the last note in a scale. Yes, because a scale is made up of 8 notes. And those 8 notes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or you say C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So C becomes a tonic. And the C on the 8th part becomes a tonic as well. But triad means chord built with thirds. Chord built with thirds. So when you build 1, 2, 3, you get to 3, you build again 1, 2, 3, you get to 3. That's how you build it. It's in thirds. A tonic triad is a music theory term for a chord of 3 notes. And the lowest of these notes, is the tonic of the key we are in. Like I said before, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The first C, which is at the base, becomes the lowest, and that becomes what? The tonic. That's the key that we are presently in. A major triad is created by taking a root note and combining it with a major third and a perfect fifth. Now, if you look at this diagram to the left side of this slide, you see that we have the tonic. It's just a single note. Then we took the tonic to the middle part of it and added a third. So we have moved a third. Then we also moved it again to the third part of it and we added a fifth. And that is called a perfect fifth. So the 3 notes of a triad, they are the root, the major third, and the perfect fifth. Can you repeat that after me? The 3 notes of a major triad is what? The root, the major third, and the perfect fifth. Give yourself a round of applause. Good. All right. For example, if you have the notes G, A, B, C, D, and E, then you will combine every other note starting with G as the root note. Don't forget, I said if you C, you start it again by using C. Now, we are having G. You must add all other notes, that you're adding a third and a fifth to G, which is the root. Thus, the major triad will be what? G. Remember, that's not the root, that's the basic, that's the tonic. Then you add the third. If you look at the ones we've highlighted, G, A, B, C, D, and E, the third becomes B, and the fifth becomes what? D. So you've gotten the tonic, which is the root, you've gotten the major third and the perfect fifth. This rule of thumb can be applied to create other major what? Triads. All right, let's watch a video to further buttress the topic on tonic triad. I'll be right back to close.
A chord is the name musicians give to 3 or more notes that are played at the same time. All of the examples here are different types of chords. A tonic triad is probably the simplest type of chord, as it is based on the first note of a scale, and this is what we'll be concentrating on in this video. Let's start by looking at C major. In any major scale, so not just C major, the first note is also known as the tonic. So the first thing about tonic triads is that they are based on the first note of the scale. Let's pop the first note, or tonic note, of C major over here. And if you're wondering why I've used a semibreve or a whole note instead of the 1-beat note from our scale, don't worry too much about this. It's very common for chords to be written using semibreves or whole notes. So, tonic means the first note of the scale. As for the word triad, you may already know that tri means 3, as in triangle or tripod. So the word triad gives us a handy hint that our tonic triad will consist of 3 notes. But which ones? Well, it's actually very easy. We've already put the tonic note C over here. Remember, tonic means the first note of the scale. So that's one of the 3 notes sorted. Let's number the remaining notes in our scale. The notes we use to complete our tonic triad are note numbers 3 and 5, which I've highlighted yellow. Now, there's a very long and complicated reason why we use notes 3 and 5, but all you need to worry about is in all major scales, we just take these 2 notes and pop them onto our tonic triad. So note 3 first, the E, it sits on top of the C. Then note 5, the G, it sits on top of the E. And it's as simple as that, the tonic triad for C major. Now, just a couple of things to note here. We've worked out that the notes in a C major tonic triad are C, E and G. We can't just plonk these notes onto the stave in any order. Although each of these examples contain just the notes C, E and G, they would all be unacceptable. It's very important that the tonic sits at the bottom. More about this in a moment. Note number 3 of the scale, the note E in C major, sits immediately above the tonic. And note number 5 of the scale, the note G in C major, sits immediately above note number 3. If it helps to visualize how the notes should sit on top of each other, let's just remove the stave from the correct answers. The remaining notes look like 3 balls balanced very carefully on top of each other. They must always be stacked on top of each other like this. If I take away the staves for our incorrect examples, you'll see that some of the notes look like they are floating in mid-air. Always make sure that when writing a tonic triad that they must always sit neatly on top of each other. Let's move these tonic triad instructions to the bottom of the screen to help us with our next example. Let's have a look at a tonic triad for another key, D major. Here's our scale of D major, and I've numbered each note of the scale. We take note number 1, the tonic, which is note D, and place it at the bottom of our tonic triad. Step 1 of our instructions completed. Step 2, we take note number 3 from our scale. Note number 3 is F sharp. Now don't forget to keep one eye on the key signature. Lots of students forget to do this and as a result would pop an F rather than an F sharp into their tonic triad. Let's add the F sharp to our tonic triad, ensuring it sits immediately on top of the tonic. Step 2 of our instructions complete. Step 3, we take note 5, the A, and we pop that onto our tonic triad. Step 3 complete, but let's just take the stave away to ensure that they look like balancing balls. They do. Here's our tonic triad for D major, D, F sharp and A. Before we tackle one final example, I just want to explain the meaning of the phrase root position. It's quite common for musicians to refer to tonic triads, or indeed any other type of chord, as being in root position. All this means is that the tonic is at the very bottom of the chord, like the examples we've been looking at. There are ways in which you can move the tonic so it appears elsewhere in the chord. Musicians call these inversions, and I do look at inversions in another video. So just be aware that if you're asked to play or write a tonic triad in root position, it merely means ensure that the tonic is at the bottom of the chord. To end, let's attempt a typical music theory exam question. Draw the tonic triad of F major in root position. Include the key signature in your answer. Here's a scale of F major, and we still tackle the question in the same way as we would normally by following the instructions at the bottom of the screen. However, this time, the question asks us to include the key signature of F major. Now, I'm not going to explain all the rules about key signatures in this video. If you need to, have a look at my other videos about key signatures. But we do need to add another step in our instruction list to ensure we tackle the question properly. I've added include the key signature if required. So straight away we pop in the key signature of F major, 1 flat, the B flat, onto the tonic triad. Step 1, complete. Step 2, we then take the tonic note, the F, and pop it at the bottom of our tonic triad. By placing it at the bottom, we are also ensuring that the chord is in root position. Step 2, complete. Step 3, note 3 is A. We pop that onto our tonic triad. Step 3 complete. Step 4, Note 5 is C, and we add that to our tonic triad. Step 4 complete, but let's just check that all 3 notes are balancing nicely on top of each other. They are. So here's our tonic triad for F major in root position with key signature.
Yeah, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed every bit of the class, especially the video you watched. Now we could see that whether you are writing it in the line on the space, you can take out the lines and you see that the 3 chords are bouncing like word balls. They must sit on each other. And I believe you've been able to look at the scales. So if you are given on any scale to work with, you should be able to build your chords. Don't forget that the triad again is worth the first, which is the root. You have the major third and the perfect fifth. Keep learning until you get it perfectly done. Let's go over now to our quiz. Are you ready? Are you ready for your quiz? All right, now take your quiz and make sure that you get everything appropriately correct. You've been my hero and I trust you for the best. All right, it's time to say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye. Be of good cheer and make sure you always come out the best. Thank you for being a wonderful child today sitting in this class. So, see you on our next meeting. For now, it's bye.